All right, looks like we're live. Let's make sure it's going out okay on the old YouTubes there. Come on. Come on. All right, sounds okay. Okay, so Luke should be joining shortly. So got a couple of things I do want to talk about. Sorry, folks, taking a drink. I know, highly professional of me. Very, very professional. Okay. I kind of wanted to talk about this last night, but I got a little... I ended up on Davis's stream last night, and bit of a heated back and forth. Jeez, this is ugly as shit. I gotta highlight the text because it's like this live journal from years ago shit where I can barely see anything. Okay, so the article is from a site called genderanalysis.net. And the article is entitled, "Am I a Satanist? Are You? How Satanism is Empowering the Trans Community." I wish I had Luke here for these pictures. Somebody says I sold Solo for free. That's still too expensive. I still wouldn't. So you have to pay me to watch Solo. You have to actually pay me. That's the price I would see Solo for. So he, she, it, whatever the fuck's going on with this critter, writes, am I Zinnia Jones, Zinnia, a Satanist? Here's some rather interesting commentary on the subject I found while browsing Tumblr. I was somewhat surprised to discover Zinnia Jones is not really an atheist, but a Satanist, but has a Satanist tattoo. I think most of the trans activists probably do worship Satan, and Zinnia simply let the cat out of the bag. Satan equal fathers of lies. Of course they worship him. The tattoo was to let other Satanists know who they are. It's usually visible in the photos. And then Zinnia writes, that is one hell of a theory. Trans people worshiping the devil and flashing secret symbols at each other like some kind of Masonic conspiracy. To be fair, the same person also accused me of being in cahoots with Big Pharma and getting high on mood stabilizers, which this tranny probably does. Half of them are on some sort of psycho drugs. So good old-fashioned satanic panic is probably not unusual of an idea within their particular worldview. This isn't the first time the Satan question come up, and it does raise some questions worth exploring. Now, just to put this in perspective, this creature does have a satanic trans tattoo. Whether it claims to be an atheist or whatever, a lot of quote unquote Satanists are LARPing atheists, or at least they say they are. But it's that, like, what's that fucking gender anarchy symbol where it's like a male and female, and then a male female combined symbol all sticking out of the same circle? Well, in that circle, there's a pentagram, and you got an idea what this tattoo is. That this totally not a Satanist is has tattooed on them. Let's see. Bechtloff, will this be a Saturday stream thing? Oh yeah. My metaphysical views are naturalist. I don't believe in entities like God or Satan or anything beyond the natural world. I believe the answers to scientific and philosophical questions are to be found within this world. That the process of reasoned inquiry is our responsibility to ourselves and each other as human beings. Why? Why is it what the responsibility is a metaphysical concept, sweetie? It's a moral concept, okay? It doesn't exist in a universe comprised of nothing but atoms bouncing around.
I don't get it either.
Here you go, Luke. Luke's joining us.
We're not talking about materialism today, are we?
No, we're talking about Satanism.
Oh.
Here, check this article out.
Oh yeah, you sent me this. What is this all about?
Throw some pictures of this creature up.
Oh yes, we'll have fun with this one.
Um,
That's what we got.
Responsibility, yeah, because responsibility exists in a fucking materialist world, sweetie.
In a godless and valueless universe, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess in the same universe where cutting your dick off makes you a woman.
Oh, so she has the Satanist symbol inside the trans symbol. That's nice.
Yeah. I've consistently held these positions since I realized as a teenager that many mutually exclusive religions would condemn me just the same for my disbelief, and that not one of them could be shown to be more objectively true than the others. Not really, sweetie. Why am I calling it sweetie? This thing's a dude, isn't it? Fuck, I don't know. You monster. You turned yourself into a monster. I'm going to call you a monster. I made videos about atheism from my first 3 years on YouTube. Oh, wow. I've given speeches at secular conferences. I cannot imagine a worse fucking place to be than a secularist conference. I'd rather be a smooth 9-year-old boy at a Catholic church. I called myself the queen of atheism until I realized how cringy that was. Really? You still don't realize how cringy you are? My atheist bona fides aren't really something I would have to clarify. So why is there a devil tattoo on my chest? I got this because I wanted something edgy, in case you needed any more proof that I'm an atheist. I wanted something that's kind of in your face, something that would make bigots do a double take, something that's a little bit scary. What better way to embrace a symbol of ultimate evil within this country's dominant religion?
Yeah, the only people who do double takes these days are the liberals. We're like, yeah, whatever.
Christians often describe trans people as satanically influenced. Gee, why would we do that? Why would we? You seem like such a nice thing. Why would we do that? Why would we do such a terrible thing? The associations of trans people with the Christian concept of evil is not new and is not something I came up with. Any religious sect which regards human sexual dimorphism and traditional gender roles as directly ordained by God can very easily come to view trans people as being the opposite of God's will, and this stance can hardly be said to fall outside the mainstream of Christianity. Sweetie, nature.
Yeah.
If now, never mind whether or not there can be a should in a godless universe. Let's assume for a minute there is, and that the continued survival and further evolution of the human species is an inherent good within, your secularist worldview here, sweetie. You're contrary to that good. Okay?
I mean, she's contrary to evolution at this point.
Exactly. All right. Nature herself wishes you not to be. and in very short order, you will not be, and your genes will have gone nowhere. You are naturally selected to not continue to exist. Oh, look at this fucking thing. Look at this. You could almost tell me that's a woman, though. So, in all fairness, congratulations on your halfway fucking convincing illusion. Not a particularly good-looking woman, but a woman nonetheless.
These are still shots, though, so they're the best shots.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was. She took I'm it. Why am I saying? I'm sure it took like 70 fucking pictures, and these are the two that it put up. Okay, so I'm not gonna read the rest of this article because it's fucking cringe. If I cringe any harder, I'm gonna pull a muscle in my face. Here's the thing, though. I don't know. How should I even begin this? Dear trans people, you are monsters. You turned yourself into monsters. Okay, remember when Riley Dennis had that big old article, why doesn't anybody want to fuck me? Because you turned yourself into an androgynous monster. Okay? And gay men don't want to fuck you because gay men want to fuck men. Okay? Straight men want to fuck women. You're some sort of bizarre fucking third option that no one wants. There's a reason the past several weeks I have focused a great deal on like porn star confessions, and why we've talked in great detail a few times here about what a nightmare the dilation stations and all this other stuff, what a nightmare existence these things inflict upon themselves. More so even than the gay lifestyle, far more than, I mean, the gay lifestyle is not by any stretch a a healthy lifestyle, but it is compared to this. What's that joke in Family Guy when Quagmire's dad comes out as transsexual and Quagmire's like, couldn't you just be gay? But there's a reason I focused a great deal on this crap here the last few weeks. Sunlight is needed here. Nothing will red pill someone on the trans question more than understanding what these people do to themselves, than taking good hard looks at them, not just the really, really passable Blair Whites and all, not even the 30% passable ones like Riley Dennis. No, looking at the freaks, the Ben Franklin that Jim showed, looking at those, which is the vast majority of them. The more sunlight you put on this shit, the better. I said this about the porn industry. It's very easy to look at porn and see the glamour. You can look at well-made porn and you just see beautiful people having, hot, wild sex, and boy, doesn't it look just so glamorous. But boy, haven't I showed on this channel the past few weeks that that's not necessarily the case, right? You have to, I don't know how else to put it. The issue needs sunlight. Nothing will red pill people more on the TQ than being exposed to trannies. Nothing. Will get people to see what's going on here. Better than that. Just expose it. Just make sure everybody knows. Okay? Make sure everybody knows exactly what these people do to themselves. Yeah, I don't want to cover a great deal of this, but
so we'll just have Aiden do it for us.
There you go.
You are now talking about potentially ruining that child's entire life. Do you know to what extent, motherfuckers, legitimate trigger warning for what I'm about to say here, trans women have to sit, often in extreme pain, and dilate their artificial vaginas with dildos for up to 5 times a day for months after sex reassignment surgery, and must continue to spend between 20 minutes to an hour dilating at least once a week for the rest of their lives. Hair frequently grows inside the artificial vagina, which needs to be manually plucked. Urination is usually messy and potentially highly embarrassing because it gets all over the place. Here's some fucked up shit. They will continue often to get erections, particularly if at any point they stop taking their hormones, which causes an uncomfortable or even incredibly painful swelling of the artificial labia, given that it is made with penile tissue.
Yeah. Doesn't that sound like a nightmare? I mean, doesn't that sound like Cenobite shit? Like something Pinhead would turn you into in his own corner of hell for his amusement? I mean, does that really sound like something actual fucking licensed doctors willingly do to motherfuckers? Welcome to the current year, Goy.
It just never ends, does it? Though, I mean, this is the thing that always challenged my libertarian leanings, because this can't be allowed. I mean, part of me wants to say, no, we cannot allow this.
Well, I do like to make a distinction that I think in a healthy society, especially in a healthy free society, we have a distinction between allowed and encouraged. You know, and we've gotten, I hate to sound too libertarian, but we've gotten so status here recently. Leftism has sort of become the dominant pseudo-religion in this culture that people don't understand that. And that was something I didn't really grasp during the gay marriage debate. Because initially I was like, okay, fags get a piece of paper from the government, who cares? But I didn't realize that we had already entered a state where that which is not forbidden is mandatory. And I don't know. Part of me would say maybe it should be outlawed in the same sense that, you know, I don't know, just some basic regulations. Like, we don't let doctors fucking play Frankenstein. You know what I mean? There's just some shit we just don't let you do. Ideally, I'd like to live in a world where there isn't a law against it, but just the medical profession just, you know, you have to go find some shady doctor in Mexico to actually do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a reason why we have laws against human experimentation.
Like I said, ideally, I would prefer it not be outlawed. It just, you know, no credible fucking doctor would do it, kind of thing. You know, every doctor would be trying to treat gender dysphoria by bringing the diseased mind in line with reality. And yes, I do believe that gender dysphoria is a real condition that does really exist. But like I said, the solution is not to mutilate this person's body until it kind of is in line with their delusion. The solution is to treat the delusion.
This is kind of like back in the medieval era where people would treat things with cuts and bleaches.
Cuts and leeches are far more medically valid than sex reassignment surgery. Cuts and leeches are more just not very effective, but we're kind of going along the right lines there.
Yeah, of course, the whole point behind leeches was the idea that diseases were caused by bad blood. And you just had to get the bad blood out and become good again. So yeah, I guess we're going full circle on the whole transgender kind of nonsense.
Yeah, but there was a better line of reasoning behind what they were doing there.
There was actually, that actually reminds me of an old cartoon called Hysteria, where they made a joke about the medieval medical era. And there was one character who was, his answer with everything was a good bleeding with leeches to cast the devil out of them.
Believe it or not, there are, and I don't know how valid this is. I just know that there are doctors that think this. Savage was the first place I heard this Michael Savage show. There are some doctors that actually think there might be some medical value to some bloodletting, for the simple fact that the idea being that, you know, when in a more natural state, we would be bleeding more often. You know what I mean? We'd be losing blood more often, you know, in a more wild environment, a less civilized environment. And the idea being that, you know, maybe we're just kind of evolved to be used to bleeding once in a while. You know what I mean?
We've also existed to be more exposed to like basic diseases and outdoor pollens, but we keep blocking ourselves more and more, making ourselves more susceptible to them when we finally expose ourselves.
So there is some doctors that think maybe some bloodletting would actually be beneficial. I don't know how valid that is, by the way. That's just a theory I've heard. Don't be spamming the chat about Bechtloff has these crazy medical theories. I'm just saying that's a theory I've heard that that seems to have some sound reasoning behind it, but I can't, you know, I'm not advocating it. It's just an interesting thing to me.
Or at the very least, get your blood pumping with some heavy lifting.
Yeah.
So you don't feel your heart dying on it, collapsing on itself.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't hurt to get punched in the face once or twice in your life. Get a bloody nose.
Well, heaven knows some people deserve it these days. And not Richard Spencer, someone else.
Somebody says, okay, Bechtloff, talk more about Satanism now. I really would rather not. I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, Satanism is just atheism with a tax-exempt status, honestly. It's like Anton LaVey's whole cult church of just doing whatever you want, well, hedonistically, while rubbing your nose in the whole concept of religion and God, or just being however you want to be without fear of God punishing you.
There's definitely the LARPy atheist version of Satanism, but I think there's a much more real version of Satanism. And then the problem becomes, well, you know, how can you tell which ones are just claiming to be the LARPy atheists or whatever? You know what I mean?
The LARPers are the one who are using their status to actually get religious imagery off the public square.
I would suspect more of the serious Satanists are the ones that never admit that they're Satanists, but you know, like Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah, the people who actually do worship evil forces. But do not invoke their name, for when you know their name, you have their weakness.
Because remember, we live in a terrifying reality where Alex Jones is never wrong. Or y'all wish he would be. Somebody says, don't punch gay dudes. The blood carries AIDS. It's like xenomorph blood. So how about that live stream Sunday? How about that? That was a hell
Oh yeah, how about that? That was fun.
Good Lord, I went on 5 hours on Davis' channel. How did Davis get Dean Esme on? Where did that come from?
I guess he's in good contact with him. I mean, I was actually in good contact. I actually was directed to him by a third party before the whole Medicare conversation happened.
I don't know that I ever really heard of Dean Esme before that. I think I might have heard the name once or twice, but yeah. I would actually be very interested, and I know I was particularly harsh on Dean as he was beating feet out of there. When I hopped in, I could barely get a word in edgewise, and then finally I responded to Dean as I started to respond to him. He was like, "Oh, I gotta go," which I'm told he had already announced he had to leave well before I got in there. But
yeah, you just missed him.
Yeah, okay. But I wouldn't mind having Dean on the channel to debate Sola Scriptura with Pastor Tom. That'd be very interesting.
Oh yeah, once Pastor Tom gets back, we're going to have a stream, but we're talking about the actual live stream and talk about the subject.
Because here's the thing, Davis was saying I was misrepresenting Dean. I really don't think I was, from what I was hearing from him. But it sounded like Dean was saying that you need to, even if you're not Catholic, you need to have some sound theology and quote unquote tradition behind you. Basically, you need to be a Calvinist or a Lutheran or a Catholic before you even read the scripture, which to me sounded like make sure you have your own preconceived notions about what the scripture says and never let it speak for itself. What is the full comic of I made a Dean Esme robot? You have to show that to me now. Let's see. What does a Dean Esme robot do?
It's a YouTube video connected to called hashtag Dean Esme's Jealousy and Unreason.
Huh. So we don't have the full comic?
Well, it's a video. It's the image to a video. I'm not sure if it's a real comic.
Well, no, there's the real comic that's based off of where it's like I made a feminist robot and the robot's just screaming rape and the one scientist says why and the other scientist looks up and he can't really answer it. So I want to know what a Dean Esme robot screams.
I don't know. I don't think it exists. I think it's just a switch.
Somebody says 5 hours, so y'all were talking about Catholicism. Um, yeah, I hopped in. I think it's an hour and 10 minutes in. I was there for a while, and then I had to get out of there, and then I tuned in towards the end because, like, I got out of there, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get some stuff done because I wanted to stream after Davis, and then I come downstairs, and it's like, 11:30 at this point, and I'm thinking like Davis has got to be done. Oh shit, he's still going, and I kind of came in as a caller was sort of preaching to John Steele and sort of, I mean. It wasn't a conversion, but he was definitely moving John in that direction, and that was very heartening to hear.
Yeah, he flat out told him that, look, John, I believe you're going. If you died right now, you're going to hell, and that's not okay.
Yeah, that was very. I was very glad to hear that. It did sound like John's heart was moved a little bit, and I like John. I know him and I have we've butted heads. John's a little abrasive, and he's even managed to piss me off on occasions, but I do like John Steele. I do pray for the guy. But yeah, I've been kind of meaning to listen to the whole thing. Somebody says I'm still listening to that live stream, no spoilers. What it sort of boils down with Davis and I is it's like, I don't know, like, Catholics will give me shit a lot of times because I believe in eternal security. I'm saved, and once saved, always saved, as it were. Well, Catholics have their own version of eternal security, and they apply it to an institution, not to individuals. And that's the Catholic Church is the one true church, and nothing the Catholic Church ever does or fails to do can alter that status.
Yeah, I believe Davis said something to the effect of, it's the one true church in the sense it'll never be overrun by heresy. It'll just maybe overrun by anything else like communism or pedophilia.
Well, the way I read Revelations, and not necessarily the prophecy part, but when there's the letters to the churches, it's very clear that certain vines, certain branches of the church in the broad sense of just believers in Christ, certain branches will die. Christ made it clear, he will take the lampstand away from certain churches. And I don't, for the life of me, understand why Davis thinks the Vatican is immune to that.
And it's very I mean, I don't know how much of a rant we want to go on this, but the whole notion that the Roman Catholic Church is the way it has been for the last 2,000 years is very ahistorical, especially in the very beginnings of it.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a difference, at least there is to me, between early church fathers and I don't know, the Catholic Church of, let's say, even 600, 700, 800 or AD. Between that, I think there's a significant difference between that and just the early church fathers. Mm. And also, I mean, yes, I'm willing to believe that the early church, let's call it the early Catholic Church, okay? Let's say the Catholic Church put together the Bible. Okay, fine. But my faith is in the Bible, not the one that put it together. You know what I mean? Just like I don't believe that everything that Paul ever scribbled down on a piece of paper was divinely inspired. At a certain point, I have to make the leap of faith that the Bible is the Word of God, and if something didn't make it in the Bible, it wasn't meant to make it in the Bible. And if something made it in the Bible, it was meant to make it in the Bible. At a certain point, I have to have that leap of faith.
But you need a tradition to help you read it, of course.
I don't have a leap of faith to put faith in tradition. I don't have a leap of faith to put faith in an organization. I'm not a man of tremendous faith, and I never have been. I hate to use the word because it's been gayed up so much, but I'm a skeptic by nature. Not a skeptic trademark, but a skeptic. I'm just kind of skeptical.
Yeah,
I just tend to look at people around me and think that they're probably bullshitting me.
Yeah, everybody's a skeptic to what they disagree with, honestly, because we all are. Again, I'm not trying to suck my own dick here because I know how it sounds in this current year. But no, I'm just a skeptic by nature. All right? I question shit too much. I question myself too much.
Trust me, there's plenty of times looking back in life I wish I'd have just, fucking gone for shit instead of questioning it, over and over and over again.
I just stumbled on this YouTube channel called Breaking the Habit. I guess it's a Catholic-focused question. And one of the videos is called If a Priest Sins and Still Says Mass, ?
But yeah, when I say skeptic, I don't mean in the sense of, Sargon of Akkad or the Armored Septic or anything like that. I just mean that I'm just... I'm not skeptic. A man of great faith. I never have been.
You're a skeptic, not skeptic trademark.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a man of great faith. I'm Thomas. I got to stick my finger in the nail wound. All right. That is the kicking and screaming way the good Lord brought me to faith. And I'm sorry, but stretching my faith to God and the Word of God is about as far as I can stretch it. Stretching it to have faith in an organization, particularly one of the current caliber of the Catholic Church, is just further than I can stretch it. Further than I could ever stretch it. But it was an interesting talk. I like chatting with Davis, and I got to give Davis credit. Most Catholics that I talk to, and I bring up the pedophilia issue, for example, most of them want to give me a million fucking excuses, or they want to hand wave it away as somehow not being a big deal, or shit like that. I never really get that impression with Davis. Hell, I think Dean was, it's just. There's just as much of that in the evangelical church. Citation fucking need it. Or I get Catholics like, it's not is that all you got? Well, what else do I need, nigga?
Can we bring up everything in the Protestant Reformation to start?
It's like, no, that's not all I have. I have serious theological issues. But even before we get to that, your leadership is butt fucking children.
Orgies in the Vatican area.
Oh, and I actually was watching some of the thing again when I mentioned it. Somebody in the chat was like, "Orgies, that's ridiculous. Watch your words." And I'm like, these are according to conservative Catholic sources that I'm getting this information. All right. Again, churchmilitant.com or net or whatever the hell it is. All right. So you're going to accuse them of Protestant rage? Like I said, though, credit to Davis. He has never tried to wave those issues away as not being a big deal or any shit like that. I've never gotten that impression from him. I've gotten that impression from a lot of Catholics that just seem to have this so what attitude.
The only thing I can find about gay sexual abuse in the Protestant churches is the concern of what do they call it? Most politically connected and homophobic mega ministries was accused of strong arming gay sex out of teens.
There is no look unless Dean Esme knows something that the whole rest of the fucking world does not. There is no systematic problem of pedophilia or covering up pedophilia in the conservative Protestant American churches. Doesn't exist. And Dean, if you do know something that the whole rest of the world does not, perhaps you should be going to the authorities then. If you have some super secret information that the rest of us are not privy to. People are making jokes in the chat about how I've gone full skeptic community.
See, they do offer a high rate, but because the country is predominantly Protestant, more children are abused by Protestant ministers than by Catholic priests. That's the argument?
Somebody in the chat says Davis is a gem. He will eventually see that defending the Catholic Church is just untenable. Here's the other biggest problem I have with the Catholic Church, and I have this with the Orthodox Church as well. I am very, I'm triggered when I come across a quote unquote Christian church that wants to add something to what you need to be saved. You know, salvation by Christ. Oh, and this other thing you got to have too, because that other thing is usually submit to our authority and quite possibly buy this thing we're selling you. Which, you know, again, I guess my natural skepticism kind of raises up the bullshit flags in me. Not an expert on history, not an expert on theology, but I know a little something about human nature, and I know a fucking scam when I see one.
Here's the qualifier. In 1990, the Freedom from Religion Foundation issued a study on pedophilia by clergy. At that time, 2 clergy per week were being arrested in North America for sex crimes against children. 58% of them were Protestant. What were the other 42? And keep in mind, these are people who are arrested. That's the point.
Yeah, that's the other thing. As I said on Davis's stream, if anything, the conservative Protestant church, when they have problems even remotely like this that prop up, and it's usually, you know, problems between consenting adults. But if anything, they damn near cast those motherfuckers out into the wilderness. You know?
The Protestants don't take kindly to harming children. No.
You know, I mean, Ted Haggard just got caught banging some gay prostitutes, not even children involved in it. And I mean, you know, he was out of a job. He was a fucking pariah. He could barely show. If anything, they were too hard on him. Now, I got to be honest with you. While I'd prefer we strike a nice balance, if I have to err on one side or the other, I would rather err on the side of being very hard on my leadership, because they are the leadership. And hell, in scripture, it even says something along the lines of woe to a teacher or a preacher or whatever, because, you know, their judgment is so much harsher or something like that. I don't know. I don't have a fucking quote in front of myself.
That's because a lot of responsibility is on them, which is kind of the difference. Like the Catholic Church has their clergy in the kind of leadership or their untouchable position, whereas the Protestant churches have, you know, you better keep your appearance, you better keep your position good.
Now, I mean, I have a great deal of sympathy for Ted Haggard, if I'm being honest with you. You know, he struggled with a sin. He knew it was wrong, and he just couldn't quit. You know, never mind it being homosexuality. Can we not all relate to that a little bit? But at the same time, yeah, I think everybody was too hard on him, but it doesn't mean they should have just moved him to another fucking position and swept it under the rug and try and kept it quiet. They didn't circle the wagons around him. So yeah, that assertion by Dean that we have the exact same problem. As I said, as Dean was leaving, he blurted out his bullshit, and then he just left, and I was like, no, Dean, something isn't true because you said it's true. You know, Dean Esme with the bullshit numbers once again. He pulled him right out of his ass, and I'm amazed he could, because I thought Medicare had pushed everything so far up in there by fucking him that one time that I'm amazed he could reach it up in there. I have to admit, I got kind of triggered, but it was more Dean. He really is just insufferable.
The guy is too eager to try to be right about stuff to pin people down and find the heretics.
Oh, and by the way, wasn't Dean a fucking Muslim for a while not too long ago? I swear that right after Medicare pushed his shit in, he went Muslim for a little while. I swear I remember hearing that. Now, I don't follow the guy very well, but, you know, I follow a lot of blood sports and streams like that where they laugh at his dumb ass. And I swear for a while he had I follow Jim, for example. I swear for a while he had gone fucking Muslim. So am I really being lectured about the fucking Bible by someone who, 2 years ago was what, some MRA atheist, and then he was a Muslim, and now he's hardcore Catholic? What the fuck are you gonna be next week, Dean? Gonna be Wiccan? Gonna try that out for a while?
Yeah, he made a comment I think he was in the beginning of the stream where he talks about how atheism pride itself in being the one true thing that everyone's turned to, and that the world is actually becoming more religious. And I would argue that there's a big difference between being religious and being Christian, because Muslims are very religious, but I wouldn't want them around that much.
Yes, I know it's a cliche within Protestant circles, and it's maybe a bit of an oversimplification, but what is it they always say? A relationship with God, not a religion.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, a religion is any theological structure, so it's not quite but they're using that in the term of world religion. They're using it in the term, Christianity is about what God did for you, not what you do for God, kind of thing. Then Jansky has a $2 super chat, says, reading the Witch Hammer, witches are Antifa. I don't think I've read the Witch Hammer, so I can't really comment on that for you, but I appreciate the super chat.
Witch Hammer, what is this?
I really think I don't know. But I really think Dean was a fucking Muslim like a year ago. I again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not. If I'm wrong, okay, I stand corrected. But I swear I remember hearing that shit. And he white knights for the fucking Muslims, that's for sure. At least he was with Jim. I don't know if he still does that. Somebody in the chat says, this day and age, Jesus would have to declare, yes, traps are gay.
I found this title on answeringislam.org. Dean Etzme, another useful idiot. Let's see.
I know he was white knighting for Islam, like left and right. I mean, the reason Jim pushed his shit in that one time is that he was actually trying to run around saying that, the refugees in fucking Germany were good boys who didn't do nothing.
Here's a quote by Dean by Etzme. As for wife beating, the Muslim site Answering Christianity has a very detailed rebuttal to Christians who claim the Quran endorses wife beating, citing chapter and verse in the Quran and other Muslim sources. The short answer is that there is no controversial verse which has multiple interpretations, which might make it okay to do the extreme circumstances, maybe. Yeah, the verse that says you may cast them from your bed or you may beat them lightly at that point. Yeah, it's multiple interpretations there.
Yeah, I don't know why Dean decided to get on the fucking white knight in Islam shit. I mean, I'm sorry, Islam is like and again, I swear I think he was like, I'm a Muslim for a while there or something. But it's like you're gonna look at this fucking vile death cult and you're like, yeah, that's something that I definitely wanna be a part of or want a white knight for or whatever.
I think it's kind of like the whole thing, like, he was part of the whole Voice for Men movement and the whole MRA movement. And I remember Davis having this video about how talking about MRAs are very similar to liberals in the sense that they're just trying to avert the victim narrative on its head. And I have a suspicion, I don't have confirmation, but I have a suspicion that Dean is very much a liberal at heart.
I don't know. I gotta kind of side with Medicare when he says, like, what the fuck is with the MRAs? Because every dealing I have with MRAs turns into shit. And come to think of it, I have not really had any positive dealings with MRAs either. I've had positive dealings with manosphere types. Hell, I've had positive dealings with the fucking MGTOWs. And some of them are faggy as hell, but I got to look into that because I swear I remember hearing that Dean had turned into a fucking Muslim. That might have just been Maybe I misunderstood that, but I know he was white knighting for the. Yeah, the fucking militant Catholics not gonna fucking white knight for Muslims. You get the fuck out of here.
You don't know any Muslims. You don't know what they're going through.
You don't know anything.
I talk to experts, yeah. And Medicare goes, yeah, I have 5 degrees. Of course, I'm an expert too.
You talk to me on the internet. You talk to somebody on AOL Messenger, and they're a fucking expert. That stream where Medicare pushed his shit in. And you know what's great about, or I shouldn't say great, it's a double-edged sword. But there's actually one time I specifically remember that Dean was right. It was a minor point, but Medicare, just through sheer force of personality, still pushed his shit in. At one point, Dean accused Medicare of being an anti-Muslim bigot. And then Medicare's all like, Muslim's not a race. Use another word, Dean. Give me another word. Give me another. Well, bigotry was the correct word, because bigotry doesn't just racism. It could be prejudice against any particular group. You know what I mean? A religious group, an ethnic group, a nationalist group, whatever, you know? Bigotry is a broader term than racism.
Although it is very hard to not be an anti-Muslim bigot sometimes.
Well, yeah, being an anti-Muslim bigot is, you know, that's also called being reasonable. But Dean was right in that sense, and Medicare was wrong. But Medicare still made Dean look like a fool by sheer force of personality. Like, I wouldn't want to argue with Jim on shit, even if I was right. Even if I knew I was right, I wouldn't want to argue with Jim on shit, because he's just so good at this verbal jujitsu where he's going to use your momentum against you and make you look like a jackass. You know? Sam Kevorkian sends a $5 super chat and says, if Catholicism turns out to be correct, I'll just tell God that I took him at his word when he told me you will know them by their fruits, Matthew 7:16. Den Jansky sends a $5 super chat. Thank you guys. Saying MRAs are kind of right when they say Islam treats bad. I'm sorry. When they say Islam treats men bad to men are just war. I see what you're saying. When they say Islam treats men bad to them, men are just war fodder in Islam. I got you there. Okay. Sorry, I was not reading that right. And, you know, little bit of lack of punctuation plus me being kind of retarded led to me butchering your super chat. But nonetheless, I appreciate it. I got your point there. But yeah, I mean, that like Dean was fucking crying by the end of that. Like, I mean, Medicare just pushed his shit in. There's no other way to describe that.
Oh, I found the clip. I think I found the right clip. Let's see if I can get this right.
Right. I don't block people because I'm not a pussy. I didn't say it was ideologically pure. I'm saying you're a pussy.
Oh, okay. I'm a pussy. Well, say it to my face sometime.
Oh, wait. Do you want to meet in real life? Are you going to fight me now? Is this the internet tough guy routine? Like, oh, you wouldn't dare say that to my face.
Yours is the internet.
No. Back it up, Sunshine. You said it to my face. So are you? So you're.
I don't think you would.
Go ahead. Do it in my face. It's hard to take you seriously when your voice cracks. Doesn't sound intimidating.
Oh. Yeah, that didn't have a chance.
I wouldn't want to go in guns blazing against Jim. I'm not going to lie to you.
Who would want to? Jim's not just a court jester. You don't go into his territory.
Yeah, like I said, Jim has a verbal jujitsu where he can use your movement. I fuck no. Now, don't get me wrong. Jim isn't always that confrontational. There's plenty of times I've seen him have very, very civil conversations, even with people that are very heated against him. It's just that Jim will meet you on the terms you approach him at. You know what I mean? And if you come at Jim of like all confrontational, chest puffed, and then later on try and de-escalate it, he's not going to let you. He's not going to ever de-escalate. You know what I mean? He's not necessarily going to escalate, but he's never going to let you back it up. He's not. You can't just say to Jim, "Okay, I think we all got a little heated there. Let's calm down." No, no, no. Once you pushed him to that level in that conversation, that's the level we're at.
Oh, if I ever got to a debate with Medicare, I don't de-escalate either, unless we hit a wall. Like, oh, okay, we have to stop now.
Like I said, it's not even like, oh, I think he's some sort of genius and he's always right and you can't ever argue it. No, what I think is that he's just very, very good at a verbal jujitsu that's going to make you look foolish, even if you are right.
It's an art form for him.
Yeah, I mean, somebody said, I've had a fine conversation with Jim on Twitter before. I found him completely civil but manly. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, once you talk shit, you're going to get hit with them. But I've seen plenty of times when, like there was somebody that came in defending the Money Badgers back when that was going on, and it was some fan of them, and it was somebody that wasn't on live streams a lot. You could tell they were nervous, and Jim was super cool with them. He didn't rip them. He was like, go ahead, speak up. It's okay. You're nervous. I get it. He was super cool with the guy, So it's not like Jim's just some fucking monster that's just going to, attack everything that wanders into his field of vision. But at the same time, he's not one to just back down, or he's not even really one to accept a white flag. No,
it's a complete.
He's done with you when he's done with you.
What's the word? Complete and utter. What's the word? The complete unconditional surrender.
Somebody, Ian McDonald says, I remember when there was one Catholic on Facebook saying he'd rather side with Muslims than the Prots. That's how autistic some of them are. If I wanted to be mean, I'd say they have more in common with the Muslims, but
ooh,
I'm not going to say such a thing. Dean's problem is that he's a pseudo-intellectual. I do really get that impression with Dean. He knows it all, man. Nope. Again, he's coming at me with this. He knows this super secret information that there is systematic covering up of pedophilia within conservative Protestant denominations. So within the Baptists, he knows what's going on in the Baptists. He knows, I guess, that these mega church networks, that they got that shit going on, which, as far as I know, that makes you privy to some information the rest of the world isn't, Dean, and maybe you should go to the authorities then.
Well, like as I read in that article, it's privy to the fact that there is more arrests on, like there are more prominent arrests on our side, but that just proves that we're having it in control.
Yeah, that's what I said. Not that there isn't pedophilia, because as I said on Davis History, pedos go where the prey is. Predators go where the prey is. There is not systematic covering it up. The likes of which you see in the Catholic Church, the likes of which you saw in Penn State. Davis brought up Penn State, and I'm like, yes, I fuck Penn State. If it were up to me, the Penn State football program would cease to exist till the end of time. If it were up to me, I would personally dig up Joe Paterno's grave and rebury him upside down. That is how much I say fuck Penn State. And fuck anyone who's a fan of Penn State. All right? And that isn't even exaggeration. If I legally could, I would dig that cocksucker up. He's not even the one who did it. He's just the one that covered that shit up. And he's treated like a hero because he yelled at a bunch of dindus who didn't belong in fucking college in the first place to throw a funny-shaped ball around. Like it wasn't even a player. He was a coach. Hey, you, throw that ball. Fucking fantastic. You're a hero. So, yeah, I would dig that cocksucker up, rebury him upside down. And I'd do it publicly if it were up to me. We're going to get the fucking news cameras out here. Fucking, let's make a day of it.
Apparently, Al Pacino portrays beloved and disgraced Penn State football coach in new HBO film.
I think that already came out.
Let's see this.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, this is April 2018, so if it came out yet.
But yeah, fuck Penn State and fuck anybody that defends them. I don't know. The main thing I was trying to get across to Davis, and I don't know if he got this, and like I said, it was very heated, and I don't mean to constantly rehash it. It's just kind of on my mind. You know, I did argue with a friend live on the fucking internet recently, so forgive me. It's kind of on my mind. I don't mean to be just rehashing it all the time, but these late night streams, very much stream of consciousness. So, whatever. But the one thing I was trying to get across, he was like, "Where's the line? Where's the line? How, because he's like, no institution's perfect." I'm like, well, I'm not expecting perfection, but come on, where's the line? Where's the line? And I'm like, look, I don't know where the line is exactly when an institution is fucked up so bad that institution has got to go. I don't know exactly where we should draw that line. But I know there has to be a point. Like you look at a color wheel with all the colors bleeding into each other, I can't tell you. We can all disagree on where does a blue end and green begin exactly. We can all have different answers for that because it's not entirely clear. But when you're smack dab in the middle of the fucking green, I know that's green. And likewise, I don't know exactly where the line is that maybe, this organization needs torn the fuck down. But I know that the systematic covering up of pedophilia, as far as I'm concerned, that's well the fuck over the line. That isn't a gray area. Somebody says that was the Sandusky shit. Yes. Yes, Jerry Sandusky was the actual pedophile. It was, Joe Paterno was just one of the power structure that covered it up. And by the way, when I say Jerry Sandusky was raping boys, let me be clear what exactly was happening here. Because we tend to use words. Rape's one of those words we overuse a bit, don't we? A willing 17-year-old and a 19-year-old is technically statutory rape. You know what I mean? But that's not what we're talking about here, okay? We're not even talking about, we're not talking about statutory rape, okay? We're not talking about Jerry Sandusky seduced young boys, pubescent, but nonetheless young boys, into something that they lacked the maturity to agree to. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about held down while they screamed rape. All right? Understand that. Understand that there isn't an ounce of mitigating circumstances regarding Jerry Sandusky. That it is when I say he raped tween and teen boys, I mean that in the worst possible sense. Now, I believe he's dead now. I believe he died in fucking jail, and good. The only sad thing is that it wasn't a violent death at the hands of the fellow inmates.
As of now, he's still alive.
Is he? I thought he died in jail.
Yeah, Pelzone has died in 2012, but this guy is still alive.
I thought I had heard he died. Forgive me. I know Paterno.
But he's 74, so he's still pushing.
That's a shame. Good news is maybe the inmates will get a hold of him. Because the inmates will tear you apart for that in prison. They will tear you apart for that. And that was covered up to defend the honor of a fucking football program, by the way. Football. But yeah, this nonsense. Oh, it's no big deal, and everything else it's worse there in other places. And fuck Diaz, man. What the fuck, man? Yeah. Gotta get better guests there, Davis.
I guess they wanted to brought on to talk about his involvement on Voice for Men and the men's rights movement, and so I'm not sure what there was to talk about.
His involvement in the men's rights movement. I didn't even know what.
Oh yeah, apparently he was involved with the Voice.
Well, I know
for
he
Men.
was involved in the men's rights movement. I meant to say, like, I didn't even know that was still a relevant topic of conversation. Who the hell cares about the MRAs? I mean, it's a joke at this point. Aren't they a punchline by now? I mean, pretty much after the Money Badgers, did we all agree that they're a punchline? The Money Badgers.
Oh, here's a good clip for this.
One of the reasons MRAs and MGTOWs will never be taken seriously is because no man could hate women as much as other women.
Oh, man. So he says, well, sports ball is a religion to many. This is true. Well, how long have we been going on? I think we've been going on long enough. I'm probably going to go ahead and wrap this up. All right, folks. And by the way, I'm not going to be talking about the Davis stream all fucking week, guys. I don't want to harp on that all week. Like I said, it's just, the nature of these late night shows. It's kind of just a stream of consciousness. So, anyways, if you enjoy the content I put out, do consider checking out the tip jar. Where you can send a one-time donation, PayPal. You can become a regular supporter on Patreon. You can, hit up the Amazon wish list. Anything people get me off there, I will do a review of. And there's also the super chats. Some of you have been doing that. I appreciate that. I do have some good content coming your way here, folks. I am working on a lot of good stuff. Unfortunately, as I said before, Owen bailed on the porn debate because he didn't like the fact that Matt Forney was shitposting in the chat, which I think is frankly kind of a shitty guilt by association thing to do. But whatever. I do hope he changes his mind because, like I said, kind of gay as fuck. But it's no big deal because that wasn't even the best debate I had in mind. I do want to get more inter-Christian debates. Might have some heated exchanges with Davis on here. Who knows? And it was a lot of fun. I did mention this on Davis' stream, and I'll say it now. While I take my faith very, very seriously, I do not take those kind of debates personally. I didn't walk away from that thinking fuck Davis or anything. I mean, I kind of thought fuck Dean Esme, but in all fairness, I thought that before Sunday. But no, it's nothing that, where him and I are beefing or anything. Oh, man, why is that creature up on the screen? Ugh.
To give you a more distinct thumbnail.
Well, can't argue with that. But yeah, I got some good debates coming. Luke and I are going to do some gaming streams down the line. I did recently acquire an NES Mini, which I understand is pretty easy to, NES Classic, which is pretty easy to hook up to a computer, HDMI stuff and all. So maybe I'll be able to stream that. I don't know. I am retarded with technical issues, but maybe I can figure that out. But yeah, we will be doing gaming streams. We'll be doing theological debates, more of these kind of just shit posting streams. So yeah, gonna really up the content here, folks. I hope you all enjoy it. And like I said, if you enjoy it, consider supporting the channel. And that's all I got for tonight, folks. I want to thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.